I've been told that down on the bottom floor of the Library in Prevalia, all the books, all the winners of the recent writing contest hosted by Sir are on display for everybody to read. So I'm going to go check them out and see if there's something that I'm interested in reading. After looking at all of them, second place is the shortest. To a Stranger by T.M. Paceman. Two strangers rested in a small clearing just outside of Andaria, accompanied by only the equidistant echoes of rattling bones to the east and humming hacksaws to the west. One of the men paced rapidly while the other knelt by a bush, breathing heavily. "What in one's name am I going to write about?" asked the pacing man. "Nothing ever happens to me. I've got no stories to tell." But you've seen dungeons, have you not?" asked the kneeling man. "People eat dungeon stories right up. I mean, the furthest I've been is the Phoenix Room in the ossuary, and that was on a guided tour. I'm sure you've seen much better than that." "Wrong. You might think so, given the circumstances, but I've never been a fan of the dark, or monsters, really. And anyways, I'm not allowed within a rope's throw of a torch, or anything capable of burning, flaming, sparkling, igniting, combusting. In fact, I'm only telling you this because I know I can trust you not to tell a soul. The only dungeon I've been into was beneath a mine, and it was by accident, and there were ogres, ettins, immediately, and I left almost as soon as I came, albeit in spirit form." The kneeling man gulped. "Well, that's still a bit impressive. The Phoenix wasn't that special any... I don't know why I even signed up for this. I've never done anything interesting enough to write about." The pacing man angrily kicked a tree, then howled and reached for his toe. The kneeling man made a slight, sudden, and small movement forward. Then he caught the eye of the pacing man and relaxed back into a different but similar kneeling position. "I'm sure that isn't true," he said. "Everyone's got a story or two to tell. Perhaps you're just too busy or caught up in your own affairs to see it. Why, here's an idea. You could take a break from your day job, set aside some time to really reflect. You could even start today. Don't you feel liberated just thinking about it?" "Ha ha. You'd like to think that, wouldn't you?" "No, I'm sure I'll think of something. It's just, I don't feel like I've done anything exciting. Everything I do is so mundane. I've never been one for the arts or adventures, or then my life might be interesting enough to speak about it. But considering how my life has actually turned out, hardly straying from this very spot, I need far too much creativity to embellish it into something fascinating. And if I had that capacity, I'd be an artist in the first place anyways." Said the kneeling man, raising his eyebrow to match his mouth, which had begun to yawn on its own. The pacing man continued. "Even crafts are beyond me. I've not once sewn. Heck, I've never even seen a seam I could seem to understand. I don't hem, hew, hack, or even hew. Honestly, I'm not sure I've ever owned a hatchet long enough to even hold it properly." The kneeling man flinched again, and this time the pacing man stopped and put his hand to his bow. Just an itch," said the kneeling man. "All right," said the pacing man. He walked over to the kneeling man and dramatically spread one leg out, resting it at a 90-degree angle against the tree, then, adjusting his sandals, carefully lacing their glacial threads so as to limit the loss of brilliant powder. Your dress is impeccable. You could write a fashion guide, perhaps." "Ha ha, thank you. They're extremely rare. But alas, every idea I've ever had that was even close to clever has just been a variation on the latest outfit Spherix wore to the fair." He let his hand off his bow and sighed. "I have very few ideas myself." You're good with that bow, right?" "Oh yes, easily amongst the best." The kneeling man rose and screamed. "Brilliant! That's it! I know for a fact that archery instruction manuals are extremely popular at the moment, and it's become increasingly rare to find a genuine teaching, what with all the knockoffs and wannabes coming from places where they don't even use separate tools for fletching, if you'll believe that. Now where were you taught? Turan or Andaria? Turan written manuals have a larger market, but Andaria is a growing niche. I learned in Cambria." What about family? Are you a father? Do you have any pets, perhaps?" "Ha! Have I tamed a dragon, you imply?" The pacing man snorted. "No, I haven't." He had come to a stop and was now staring into the sky through a small hole in the treetops. "And neither have I tamed the high seas. I haven't tamed anything. That's what Esmeralda always said. If I couldn't tame myself, she couldn't. Nobody could. Tragic what had to happen to her. He turned to the kneeling man. You're right. I'm worthless. Well, not completely. You seem to be a mighty fine murderer, said the kneeling man, pausing to cough up blood. Then, wiping it from his blue doublet, you could write about that. Write about what you know, they say. You breeze through it. Oh, I've just thought of this. Perhaps your debut could speak of the time you spared an innocent man with a family who lent you his ear and his most tender advice in a time of your great... The kneeling man's advice ended with a series of hacking noises, at first in harmony with agonizing pleading, then quickly crescendoing into a climax of splattering and screaming, and then there was silence in the clearing, save for the light echo of coins jingling and logs clattering while being slowly stuffed into a small yet surprisingly spacious sack. A book about murdering. I do like the sound of that. You might be on to something there. A nod. That was pretty good.